Hello, everyone at Kaspar. Ben back with Catto&Catto, a division of Hub International. Nice to meet you. Today, we are going to go through everything in this guide. There's a lot there. So we're going to simplify some areas and we're going to explain a lot of others. But if you have any questions, please let myself, Jim, or Ann know. We're going to be in the back of this guide, and you've got a rockstar HR team that'll help you navigate through this as well. A couple of housekeeping items right here. These are the different insurance products we're going to go over today. At the bottom here of page 1, if you're in open enrollment, you can hop on the plan, come off. If you're a new hire, you can come onto the plan. Outside of open enrollment, you can't make a change unless you have a qualifying life event. That's what the IRS tells us. So we are all governed by the same sort of rules: marriage, divorce, birth of a baby, things like that. You can change your election, but outside of what's listed here, you cannot change it until open enrollment. When you say your yeses and nos to everything we talk about today, you're going to go to easykaspar.bswift.com. And this website will come up and you'll say, yes, I want this. No, I don't want that. And it'll auto-populate so that you can see the exact cost coming out of your paycheck. Now, we've got 3 different medical plans. Okay. A company called 90 Degree Benefits, or Entrust, is the administrator for what we're going to be talking about here. And I want you to think about it in 3 broad categories: doctors, hospitals, and prescription drugs. And so there's a lot more to it, but for the purposes of not having this be a 4-hour video for you, we're going to simplify it. We have 3 different plans, so let's compare and contrast them. The Obama plan, the Kaspar plan, and the buyout plan. All of these plans have preventive services: mammograms, pap smears, childhood immunizations, preventative colonoscopies, annual wellness exams. Those are covered for free. It's already baked into the cost coming out towards the insurance company. Now, when you go to a doctor's office on the Obama plan, you're paying the discounted rate to stay in the Galaxy network. That's why it says 0% after deductible. So you pay the discounted rate. On the Kaspar, the buyout plan, you pay a flat rate. That's what a copay is, a flat rate when you use something. So you're paying 30 or 25 when you're going to a Galaxy network. That's the network that we use for doctors. Okay. One cool thing, virtual visit 24/7, 365 through Healthiest You. That's 0. So that's pretty cool for, like, you're going to see me going like that. Pollen just is all over. I can barely breathe these days. So if you need, something to clear up some sinuses, that's a good reason to use a virtual visit. Now, these deductibles are what apply to you if you go to one of our non-contracted hospitals. We've got all sorts of hospitals that we have arranged pricing that is fair and reasonable for you, fair and reasonable for the plan. And the real kicker to that is, if you go to a contracted hospital and let's say you're on the Kaspar plan, this $1,500 deductible, the deductible is the part you pay first before insurance starts to pay, is waived. And so you might get a little seasick here. While we're talking about hospitals, I'll cover all this stuff. This is where we highly encourage you to go, because the deductibles and the out-of-pocket expenses are waived at these facilities. So these are our direct contract facilities where we have preset pricing and we get a better deal. And many of you are familiar with a lot of these names, which is great. So when you go into a hospital, just know you can go to a direct safe harbor hospital and you are not responsible for the deductible or the out-of-pocket. You can go anywhere outside of this, but then you'd have a deductible and an out-of-pocket maximum. So we've got certain places that are really, really high quality and really, really good. Now let's talk about the third thing I mentioned, which is prescription drugs. Remember, doctors, hospitals, and prescriptions. So the prescription is managed. Here's where it's going to get a little dizzy again. Sorry about that. The prescription program is managed by a company called Southern Scripts. Okay, so doctors is Galaxy. Hospitals are direct contracts, or you have a deductible and out of pocket anywhere else. Prescriptions, Southern Scripts. Doctors, Galaxy. Hospitals, direct contracts. Prescription, Southern Scripts. And so there's a bunch of different things within Southern Scripts that they manage on behalf of the plan. And so this is going to be again, a summary. Again, there is more to it, but we're pretty good at explaining these kinds of things. And so is the great HR team at Kaspar. So if you're on the Obama plan, you pay the discounted rate for contracting through Southern Scripts, but we don't exactly know what that is on this plan. On the Kaspar plan and the buy-up plan, you are paying a flat rate for your prescription. And so you've got a flat rate for a copay. The other really cool thing, we're going to talk about this. I said doctors, hospitals, and prescription drugs. I do want to point out, let's just talk about imaging. Let's complicate it just a little bit for a second. So we have these direct contract facilities for advanced imaging via green imaging. We'll talk about that, and it is a much better deal than not going there. So the way that we set up this plan, because healthcare expenses just continue to absolutely go through the roof. So we had to set some make sense protocols inside the plan so that we could better manage cost. And so what we did was we found some very high quality, reasonably priced vendors. And we said, okay, our employees at Kaspar, if we send them to you, will you give us a better price tag? And so that's philosophically what we are doing here in all these different areas. And so we'll talk a little bit more about imaging, but I realize I'm the one who complicated it. I told you 3 things and then I really meant 4. So the information that I'm going over, I have summarized. The only other thing that I'll say is if you do get a balance bill, that's like, even if you go to a direct contract facility, if for some reason the bill just gets processed incorrectly, just make sure you reach out to our medical helpline advocate so that we can make sure that the cost is correct and you owe what you owe no matter where you go. We want to make sure that it is accurate. Okay. Southern Scripts, we talked about this just a little bit. Probably the biggest thing that I'll comment on today is we do have this copay program. It's called a variable copay. Here's the deal. If you're going to the grocery store and you see a coupon, there are drugs where there's a coupon that is already available. So we want you to use the coupon. That's why it says mandatory. We're going to take that coupon and then get you that exact same prescription, and we will mail it to you. So they've got an app. Everybody does. It's the cool thing. So you can download the Southern Scripts app, but Southern Scripts is just for prescription drugs. Okay. Great public service announcement. If you're ever driving by the sign that says go see the doctor in 6 minutes, you can, and it's probably a freestanding emergency room. So just make sure you don't walk into an ER when you thought it was just like a regular doctor's office, because you're going to get a big old bill. We can't get you out of that one. Healthiest You, we did talk about. It is super easy for hack, cold, sneeze kind of stuff. And there is no cost to you. These are the direct contracts for facilities, hospitals that we talked about. So please just make note of those. Let me see if I can switch the view on my screen. I should be able to. Yeah. Okay. So this is the imaging part. Remember I said, I want you to know 3 things and then I mentioned 4. Okay. Just simplify everything. Look at the green. Your doctor says you've got an order for diagnostic imaging. Text, chat, call, Green Imaging. Green Imaging schedules the procedure, gives you a voucher for the service, tells you where to go. You show your voucher instead of your insurance card, and then you don't have any copay. Pretty sweet to get MRI, CT, PET, ultrasound, nuclear medicine, mammography. That's just a heck of a deal. So when you think of somebody's got to take a picture of my bones or something on the inside, think of Green Imaging. How about that? More information on UT, which is the MD Anderson, the Mays Cancer Center out of San Antonio. They are using the same protocols as MD Anderson, but it's just in San Antonio. And that is a direct contract facility. And it might be upside down for a little bit. There we go. Life insurance, don't want you to have to use this. It's free to you. Everybody gets $15,000. One cool thing, this is through Mutual of Omaha. They offer free will prep. I love that service. It's a really good thing to have. When you go to Be Swift, it will annoy you when they ask you who your beneficiary is. That's who you choose. If you were to pass away, the insurance needs to, the payment for that life insurance needs to go somewhere. So that's what a beneficiary is. Dental is from Mutual of Omaha as well. Every mouth gets $1,000 per year. That's how this works. If you're on the low plan, it is less expensive because you don't have major services. Bridges, crowns, dentals don't have ortho. So the low plan is for somebody who just needs some protection of $1,000 per mouth. If you have one spouse and 3 kids, it's $1,000 for each of those mouths per year. And the high plan has a little more coverage for more advanced stuff. So low plan is for somebody who, it'd probably be like me. I usually just go to the dentist twice a year and get my teeth clean. I'd be on the low plan. Somebody else who had some issues going on that they needed to address that were a little more advanced might be interested in the high plan. Both are through Mutual of Omaha, and the costs are right there. Vision is also through Mutual of Omaha. You go in and you're in the iMed network. Some of the, let me see if we have them. Yeah, some of the retailers are down here. You go in, you don't have a copay. The frames, you get $130 off. Anything over that, you get 20% off. The lenses that go inside the frames are $0, unless you're really blind and you choose to go like that to your glasses. That's what I do. So I'm not getting out for nothing for those lenses. So it really depends on your vision. Or you get contacts and they'll give you $130. And you get either frames and lenses or contacts, not both at the exact same time. Supplemental plans, accident and critical illness. Okay, so accident is if you get in an accident and you seek care. Really, it could be just about anything. Broken bone, kids in sports, or maybe you're just really accident prone. The payment goes to your mailbox and it depends on the severity of the injury. You do have to go seek care. You have to ask a doctor about it. You can't just say, I'm hurt, send some money to my mailbox. But you can see as an example of what is in the contract. So if you break your arm in 10 places versus break your arm in 1, the payment is more because you broke your arm worse by doing it in 10 places. Critical illness, I never want anybody to actually have to use this or frankly to sign up for it, but critical illnesses are out there: cancer, heart attack, stroke, things like this. It pays on initial diagnosis, and just know that this information, just the layout of it is a little more confusing. It is easier, I think, to view when you go through the B-Swift system, because you'll be able to see, well, you know, if I want to pay for $5,000, how much is it? Versus if I want to pay for a $30,000 payment, if I were to get, you know, God forbid, a bone marrow transplant, you know, how much would that be out of my paycheck? So you'll be able to see that. Here, there's a lot of words, and if you're anything like me, it tends to kind of, you know, gloss over it. Costs are here. They'll also be on B-Swift. It's easier to see there. A couple of more free things. travel assist, and ID theft. Those are freebies. I don't anticipate you'll actually remember that they're there. Honestly, both of these are more like concierge services. So if you're traveling more than 100 miles away, you lose your ID. There actually is a concierge through Mutual of Omaha that can help you get your stuff and get back onto a plane to get home. That's my best example of that being used. And the ID theft is more of a phone a friend. There are much more specific policies that address ID theft. Actually, I have one, but just know that this is in the insurance contract. But honestly, the will prep that we referenced earlier, when we were talking about life insurance, I actually think that's probably the most usable piece. The rest of this information is great late night reading material. So we're not going to cover, for the sake of time, I'm going to scroll to the contact page, and we'll let you know who to call and who to reach out to if you have any questions. So obviously you've got Trisha, she's fabulous. Anne backs her up. I am a part of the team as well. So just make sure that you reach out to one of us if you have any questions over anything that we've talked about today. Really appreciate your attention and hanging in there. There is some detail underneath the doctors, the hospitals, and the prescriptions that may be needed for your particular situation. So just let us know if you have a question, and we'd be happy to help. All right. Thanks, y'all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.